Eat these 2 protein foods to protect your kidneys. Here's something that surprises almost everyone the first time they hear it. Protein isn't the enemy of your kidneys. The wrong kind of protein is. For years, people have been told to simply eat less protein to protect their kidneys. But that advice is outdated and, frankly, incomplete. The real story is about quality over quantity, because certain proteins place far less strain on your kidneys while still giving your body what it needs to repair muscle, support immunity, and maintain strength, especially critical as we age past 60. Other proteins, heavy in phosphorus, saturated fat, and inflammatory compounds, quietly force your kidneys to work overtime with every single meal. Today, we're revealing the 2 proteins that consistently show up in renal nutrition research as genuinely protective, not just less harmful, but actively supportive of long-term kidney function. We'll break down exactly how each one works inside your body, the precise mechanisms behind the protection, how much to eat, the mistakes even health-conscious people make, and 3 luxury-style recipes that make eating for your kidneys feel like fine dining instead of a restriction. If you've been avoiding protein out of fear or eating the wrong kind without realizing it, this video is about to change how you think about your plate entirely. Let's get into it. Foods #1. Fatty fish, especially salmon. If there's one protein source that shows up again and again in serious kidney research, it's fatty fish, and salmon sits right at the top of that list. The reason comes down to a specific mechanism: omega-3 fatty acids. The healthy fats concentrated in fatty fish have been shown to reduce inflammation at the cellular level throughout the entire cardiovascular and renal system. Your kidneys are essentially dense networks of tiny blood vessels and filtering units, and chronic inflammation is one of the primary forces that gradually damages those delicate structures over years of wear. Omega-3s work by influencing the body's production of inflammatory compounds called eicosanoids, essentially turning down the volume on the low-grade, constant inflammation that quietly accelerates kidney decline. There's a second mechanism worth understanding. Omega-3 fatty acids have been studied for their ability to help reduce intraglomerular pressure, meaning the pressure inside the tiny filtering units of the kidney called glomeruli. Elevated pressure inside these structures, often driven by high blood pressure or diabetes, is one of the primary ways kidney tissue becomes damaged over time. And by helping ease that internal pressure, fatty fish offers a layer of protection that few other protein sources can match. Salmon also supports healthier triglyceride and cholesterol levels, and since cardiovascular health and kidney health are deeply intertwined, sharing the same blood vessel network throughout the body, anything that protects your heart is simultaneously protecting your kidneys. There's a third mechanism worth noting too. Omega-3 fatty acids have been studied for their gentle, natural effect on blood pressure regulation. And since high blood pressure remains one of the top drivers of kidney damage among American adults, this cardiovascular benefit translates directly into kidney protection over time, layer by layer. Compared to red meat, salmon is also naturally lower in the type of saturated fat and phosphorus load that places extra strain on kidneys already working to keep up, making it a genuinely favorable protein swap for anyone managing early-stage kidney concerns. Now, here's where mistakes commonly happen. The biggest mistake is preparation. Breading and deep-frying fish, or drenching it in heavy, salt-loaded sauces, cancels out much of its natural benefit by adding sodium and unhealthy fats right back into the meal. Another common mistake is over-relying on canned or smoked fish varieties, which are often extremely high in added sodium, something that directly works against blood pressure and kidney protection. A third mistake is avoiding fish entirely out of confusion about mercury content, when in reality, salmon, particularly wild-caught varieties, is considered one of the lower mercury fish options and is generally recommended as safe for regular consumption by health authorities across the United States. A fourth, less obvious mistake is eating the same preparation every single time, which often leads people to abandon the habit out of boredom, when in reality, rotating preparations keeps the habit sustainable enough to actually stick with long term. For the best possible preparation, grilling, baking, or gently pan-searing salmon with olive oil, lemon, and fresh herbs preserves its omega-3 content while keeping sodium low and flavor high. As for luxury-style ways to enjoy it, 3 ideas stand out. A miso-glazed baked salmon, using a light, reduced sodium glaze with ginger and a touch of honey, delivers a restaurant-quality dish that feels indulgent while staying kidney-conscious. A herb-crusted salmon with lemon butter, using fresh dill, parsley, and a squeeze of lemon rather than heavy cream sauces, brings elegant, fine dining flavor to a simple weeknight dinner. And for something truly special, cedar plank grilled salmon, infused with a smoky, natural aroma from the wood itself, requires no added salt to taste extraordinary, making it a show-stopping dish for entertaining guests. In terms of dosage, most nutrition guidelines suggest 2 to 3 servings of fatty fish per week, with a single serving being roughly 3 to 4 ounces, about the size of a deck of cards, for most adults focused on kidney protection. For those managing advanced CKD or dialysis, protein portions may need to be individually adjusted, so checking with a renal dietitian before establishing a routine is always the safest approach. I think of Robert, 67, who had avoided fish for years simply out of habit, sticking to red meat at nearly every dinner. After his doctor suggested swapping in salmon twice a week, his cholesterol improved within a few months, and his blood pressure readings became noticeably steadier, changes his doctor directly credited to the simple protein swap. Rich, satisfying, and backed by real mechanisms of protection, fatty fish proves that protecting your kidneys doesn't mean giving up flavor. It means choosing the right protein in the first place. And unlike many dietary changes that feel like sacrifice, this one tends to feel like an upgrade from the very first bite. Food #2. Egg whites. Here it is, the protein source that renal dietitians quietly recommend more often than almost any other, especially for people managing chronic kidney disease. And once you understand the mechanism, it makes perfect sense. Egg whites are considered a high biological value protein, meaning they contain a nearly ideal ratio of essential amino acids that the body can use efficiently, with very little waste left over. This matters enormously for kidney health, because when protein is used efficiently by the body, less nitrogenous waste, the byproduct your kidneys must filter out, ends up circulating in the bloodstream. In simple terms, egg whites give your body more usable building blocks for muscle repair and immune function, while asking your kidneys to filter out comparatively less waste per gram of protein consumed, a mechanism that makes them uniquely favorable compared to many other common protein sources. There's a second major advantage. Egg whites are naturally very low in phosphorus, a mineral that must be carefully controlled in chronic kidney disease, since damaged kidneys struggle to remove excess phosphorus from the blood, which over time can weaken bones and damage blood vessels. Unlike egg yolks, which concentrate most of the egg's phosphorus, egg whites allow people to get high-quality protein without the phosphorus burden that comes packaged with many other animal proteins, including red meat, organ meats, and even whole eggs. Egg whites are also virtually free of the saturated fat found in the yolk, offering a heart-healthy protein option that supports the same interconnected cardiovascular kidney protection we discussed with fatty fish. There's an additional mechanism worth mentioning. Egg whites contain minimal purine content compared to many other animal proteins, meaning they generate less uric acid as a metabolic byproduct, another compound your kidneys must filter and manage, especially relevant for older adults who are also navigating gout or elevated uric acid alongside kidney concerns. For older adults managing both kidney concerns and cholesterol concerns simultaneously, a common combination in the United States, egg whites solve 2 problems with a single, simple food. Now, let's talk about mistakes, because they're common here too. The biggest mistake is over-relying on processed, pre-packaged egg white products loaded with added sodium and preservatives, rather than using fresh, whole eggs and simply separating the whites at home, which offers far better flavor and control over what's actually going into the meal. Another mistake is pairing egg whites with high-sodium additions, like processed cheese, bacon, or salty seasoning blends, which quietly undoes much of the phosphorus and sodium advantage egg whites naturally offer. A third mistake, somewhat counterintuitive, is avoiding eggs altogether due to old, outdated cholesterol fears, when in reality, it's specifically the yolk that carries most of the cholesterol and phosphorus concern, meaning egg whites alone sidestep that issue almost entirely while still delivering excellent protein value. A fourth mistake is overcooking egg whites until they become rubbery, which doesn't affect nutrition but often turns people off the food entirely, when a gentle, low-heat approach preserves both texture and taste far better. For the best preparation, gently scrambling, poaching, or making a light omelet using fresh herbs, tomatoes, and spinach preserves the protein quality while keeping sodium and added fat low. As for luxury-style recipes, 3 ideas stand out beautifully. An egg white and herb soufflé, light, airy, and delicately seasoned with chives and a touch of Parmesan, brings an elegant, brunch-worthy dish to the table that feels far more indulgent than its simple ingredient list suggests. A Mediterranean egg white scramble, folded with sun-dried tomatoes, fresh basil, and a drizzle of good olive oil, delivers bold, restaurant-quality flavor in under 10 minutes. And for something special, egg white frittata cups, baked individually with roasted vegetables and fresh herbs, make an impressive, make-ahead dish, perfect for entertaining or meal prep alike. In terms of dosage, most adults focused on kidney-conscious eating can enjoy the whites of 2 to 3 eggs per day as part of a balanced diet, though anyone managing advanced CKD or dialysis should confirm their personal protein targets with a renal dietitian, since individual protein needs can vary significantly based on kidney stage and treatment. I think of Patricia, 70, who was told to reduce her protein intake after an early CKD diagnosis and worried she'd feel weak and hungry as a result. Her dietitian introduced egg whites as her primary morning protein, and within weeks, Patricia noticed she felt just as satisfied, with far less strain showing up in her follow-up lab work, a small swap that made a measurable difference. Light, efficient, and remarkably protective, egg whites prove that sometimes the simplest food in your kitchen is quietly doing the most important work for your kidneys. It's a habit that costs almost nothing, takes minutes to prepare, and quietly compounds into real protection over time. So there you have it, 2 proteins working through completely different mechanisms to protect the same vital organ. Fatty fish calming inflammation and easing pressure inside your kidneys' filtering units, and egg whites delivering efficient, high-quality protein with a fraction of the phosphorus burden of other options. Remember, protein needs vary by kidney stage, so always confirm your personal targets with your doctor or renal dietitian, especially if you're managing CKD or dialysis. So here's our question for you. Are you Team Salmon or Team Egg Whites? And which one are you adding to your plate this week? Drop your answer in the comments below, and if someone you love needs to hear this, share this video with them today. It might be exactly the change they've been searching for. Protecting your kidneys was never about eliminating protein. It was always about choosing the right protein, and now you know exactly which 2 to reach for. Thank you for watching. Stay strong, stay curious, and we'll see you in the next one.